everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today is going to be another challenge weekly recap video. Today I'm talking about episode 2. So like I said in my last recap, I was thinking that it would be interesting now that everyone knows the twist that you have to win an elimination in order to make it to a final. So the episode starts off with everyone kind of talking about this new twist. They're saying, you know, I want to go in now. Like, I want to, you know, start strategizing how I can get in and try to play it my ways to where I can go against someone I think I can beat. So right away, Tori and Jordan are trying to come up with ways that they can get in. Specifically, Jordan really wants to help Tori get in. Sorry for the tapping feet, that is my little doggy. So right away, there's a few people that want to get in. Jenny wants to get in, Tori wants to get in, and Big T wants to get in. Big T is talking about how she trained a lot in the off season, so she wants to get in not only just to earn her Red Skull to make it to the finals, but she wants to show everyone what she's been up to since the last season. So like I said, everyone's kind of at the house right now. They haven't gotten to the next challenge or anything like that lately. Rogan is flirting with Jen. Now Jen's the one from The Amazing Race. I know it can be confusing with Jen, Jenny, and Jenna, but Rogan's flirting with Jen a little bit. He seems like he has a little crush on her. And of course, last season, Dee and Rogan were pretty much an item, and so Dee is not having it. So pretty much the episode just starts off with them all chit-chatting with each other. Then it's time for the actual challenge. This challenge is called the Airdrop Challenge, and they're all split up into teams, and the teams are divided up randomly. So they're split into 9 teams. I think it's interesting that they decided to do it random instead of picking like 9 captains and then letting them choose, but maybe they really just wanted it all to be random. I'm gonna name off the teams real quick for you and look at my notes just to make sure that I get all the teams right. Wes, Jordan, and Jenny. First thing I'm thinking is, dang, like that's a powerhouse team. Wes, Jordan, and Jenny. Josh, Bailey, and Jen. Casey, Jay, and CT. Corey, Swaggy, and Dee. Fessy, Kyle, Melissa. Ashley, Bear, and Jenna. Nelson, Tori, and Kayla. Bananas, Anissa, and Nany. And Rogan, Big T, and Maddie. So really, I think the teams are pretty evenly stacked. Each team seems to have a really strong person on there, but really everyone is pretty much a good competitor at this point. You know, depending on the specific challenge, I could see some disadvantages being like if you have 2 girls on the team compared to having like 2 guys on the team, like Wes and Jordan on the team. But I think everyone has their own strong point. Everyone has a strength to them. So I don't think it always necessarily comes down to who's the strongest. So each team has to carry like a giant military crate 1 mile, but in order to carry it a mile, you have to run a mile to get to it first. So right away I'm thinking like, these challenges are pretty tough so far. I mean, that's what it should be, but sometimes in the past seasons, they've been pretty easy in my opinion, and it seems like they're starting strong this season. So the teams that get their crate to the final destination the fastest are going to move on, the top 3. Now for the second part, I know if it was me, I'd be a little terrified. So the top 3 teams are going up into a helicopter and they have to drop those crates onto a target. So the team that has the most accurate drops, or the team that gets the most closest to the target or on the target, will be the winner. So no surprise, Wes, Jordan, and Jenny are the first team to finish the first part of the challenge. Next, it's team Fessy, Kyle, and Melissa. And then finally, the third team to move on to the next round are Swaggy, Dee, and Corey. So those are the 3 teams that are going up in the helicopter, and so pretty much what the idea is, one person's kind of the lookout or trying to gauge how close they are to the target, and when the moment should be that they drop the materials to the target. So like for the first team, Jordan is looking at the target, Wes and Jenny are ready to drop the materials as soon as he says so. They're kind of starting off pretty poorly, and they're really struggling. Out of the 9 drops that they have to make, they only hit 2 out of 9. Now Fessy, Kyle, and Melissa are actually do pretty well. They hit 7 out of 9 targets, but the crazy thing is that the last team, Swaggy, Corey, and Dee, hit all 9. So that means that Dee, Swaggy, and Corey win the challenge, and they're forming the tribunal. So now it's time for the tribunal to kind of think about who they want to throw in. Dee is kind of gunning for Jen, and maybe this is because Jen is flirting with Rogan a lot. In my opinion, that's probably what it is. However, Jen is also a rookie, and like I mentioned before, rookies pretty much usually go in. Now the sad part about this episode, and kind of cringy, is that Jen, she doesn't want to go in, of course, and so she's been getting along with the guys pretty well. So she talks to some of the veterans and kind of expresses her concern that she doesn't want to go in. Now, Bananas and Wes are kind of being dicks, and they're like, we'll help you write together a letter, and you can read your letter as kind of your proclamation why you don't want to go in and why you shouldn't go in. And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, like, the first thing you need to do if you're gonna go on the challenge is watch the show. You never write a letter to read out loud when you're up for elimination. It makes you look desperate. Bananas even says, I don't think that Jen actually understands what's happening to her right now. It's basically like we're giving her a roadmap that leads directly off a cliff into a pit of sharks and broken glass. So it's like they know what they're doing. They're just messing around and being mean, and I kind of feel bad for her. So after Jen's done reading her letter, Wes kicks off the voting and he says her name. From what I read, there was a plan that like CT, Wes, and Bananas and some of the vets were going to try to save Jen and throw in Big T instead, especially because Big T wanted to go in, but Wes said Jen's name and kind of screwed everything up. So the majority of the house votes to send Jen into the purgatory elimination. Now it's just up to the tribunal for nominating 3 people to interview and then choosing 1 person to go in against Jen. Now right away, Tori really wants to go in, and Jordan is pretty much trying to support that, and Jenny also wants to go in. Now supposedly Jenny and Dee is in the tribunal, they made a pact before the show that they were going to be each other's number 1, and Jenny really wanted to go into the elimination, and so Dee was up front with Tori and said, Jenny and I have this agreement, I'm gonna vote for Jenny. But then Tori comes back and rebuttals and says, well, like after the final last season, we had each other's back. Like we agreed that we were gonna be each other's number 1, her, Jordan, and Dee. And then Jordan kind of comes on to be a little more threatening in a way where he tells Tori to tell Dee that if Dee doesn't vote for Tori to go in, then Jordan is going to pretty much go back on his word and not want to be in an alliance with Dee anymore. Now Dee sees this as threatening and it kind of ticks her off according to her interviews, and she is still saying like, I'm not going to be threatened, and she expresses that to the rest of the tribunal too. However, they decide to pick Jenny, Tori, and Big T to be their top 3 that they're going to interview. It's interesting that with Swaggy being on the tribunal, he didn't want to try to get Bailey in to earn her red skull, but I guess he just wants to keep her safe as long as possible. However, knowing that Jen is the person that's going to be in the elimination, you think you could send someone in that might not be the strongest girl in the house and they could still beat her. So speaking of that, there's talks, and Wes even points something out that why would you send Jenny, who is an absolute beast, into the elimination against Jen? That's pretty much giving Jenny like a guaranteed free skull, a red skull, to make it to the final. So you're almost giving her the easiest elimination possible. Now after the interviews, the tribunal still decides that they're going to send in Jenny because Dee didn't want to go back on her word. So when it comes down to the elimination, the tribunal, all 3 of them, nominate Jenny. Now, here's another twist. So TJ did say that the tribunal would have all of the power. The elimination is called Flip the Switch, which makes you think of the TikTok, I just flipped the switch. So pretty much there are like 10 barrels connected to a bar. It almost looks like a swing set, but not really. So I'll insert a picture here. Pretty much what you have to do is you have to swing the barrels on top and land them there, and then go to the next one and do that 10 times. So overall, so it's not going to be like a head-to-head physical elimination. It's pretty much just each person going at their own pace, and whoever finishes the fastest wins. Knowing that right away, you think, okay, so it's not like an all-out brawl. Maybe Jen from Amazing Race does have a chance. Before the elimination starts, TJ throws out one more twist. He says that someone that's in the tribunal can throw themselves into elimination. So this is huge. So when you know that you can beat someone, you can nominate yourself if you're in the tribunal. So right away, I'm thinking like, okay, so Dee, I mean, she's a pretty good competitor. She's won a challenge before. She could go in and beat Jen herself. I mean, she's been talking about wanting her gone, so maybe she should go in. However, Dee decides to keep her word and votes in Jenny. The The tribunal 3-0 votes in Jenny, and people are kind of booing her and saying like, okay, so you're not that tough. You know, you say you want to win and you want someone gone, but you won't even go in against her when you have the chance. And as the elimination starts, Jenny finishes in I think like 30 seconds. I mean, that's what it seemed like on the edit, but Jenny finishes way before Jen. It was pretty much a blowout. Jenny earns a red skull, and now she's able to get into the finals. So in one of Ashley's confessional interviews, she says this quote. She says, "Dee thinks she's a great game player because she learned from Wes, but she gave the strongest girl in the house the easiest ride to the final, and now she's gonna have to compete against her in the final. Good luck, honey." Ashley was spot on, in my opinion. So now Jordan is pretty ticked off. He says you can't trust Dee. I mean, I guess if they actually shook on it and made a pact that they were going to be each other's number one, I could see how Jordan was ticked, but I also think that sometimes Jordan is a sore loser, so you never really know. So overall, I think this episode is just starting to unravel the drama. I think that the drama between Tori and Dee and Jordan is going to continue. I think it's important to note who performed well in the challenge, especially because, I mean, they were running a mile, and in the final, there's almost always a running portion. And remember, Fessy did really good, and he's a rookie, so I think, again, he's going to go pretty far this season. I think that it was very stupid for Dee to send in Jenny against Jen. They could have even sent in someone like Nany or Jenna or Kayla. I guess if Dee isn't in alliance with them, then she wouldn't want to potentially send them to the final. And if she is good friends with Jenny, that's why she wanted Jenny to get the red skull. But sometimes in this game, you have to think for yourself, you know? Like, no one would want to go against Jenny in the final. I know I wouldn't. So let me know your thoughts below. Do you think Dee made the right decision? Do you think that that drama is going to continue throughout the season? And what are your predictions for next episode? I like to watch the challenge, and it's fun for me to kind of recap my thoughts out loud. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.